Hello again. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to appreciate the freedoms we have in America and the free world, for that matter. As we think about this great country we live in, I live in America, there are four basic freedoms that I'm going to discuss that I want my children and my grandchildren and my employees to totally appreciate and understand. Now, the word appreciate has three meanings. I'm going to talk about appreciation means to be grateful for, gratitude. Appreciate in real estate means an increase in value. I'm going to show you how to increase the value of these freedoms in our life. It also means to fully understand. When somebody goes, ooh, I appreciate what you've gone through. I appreciate the way you feel. They're trying to fully understand and have empathy. So as you stay with me in this episode, you're going to be blown away with a way to empower those that you care about to use the four freedoms that we have in this country that most people on this planet have never enjoyed. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I'm passionate about helping people appreciate these powerful freedoms that we enjoy because abundance breeds abundance. And so I've discovered in life you can choose to marinate in degrading things, or you can choose to marinate in uplifting things. I have found this is far better because when you dwell in these degrading things, everybody's always talking about how bad things are. And it's like you brighten the room when you leave it because you're always just complaining. I'd rather be around abundant-minded people that brighten the room when they enter it, so to speak. Let's talk about these four freedoms. One of the concepts that I want you to understand from an episode that I would recommend here at the end if you haven't viewed it, it's the difference between needing and wanting, or captivity and freedom. It's scarcity in a mindset versus abundance as a mindset. So let me go here and show you the difference here between always, oh, I can't wait till I'm there and then I'll be happy. As we move from a mindset of scarcity where we're in captivity and we're always, oh, I need this, I need that. It's wanting abundance. And when you want abundance, abundance breeds abundance for those that you care about. One of the key things that I teach my children and grandchildren, my employees, is, hey, we're already there. We're already so blessed in this country. And so once we understand and we have gratitude, we appreciate that we are already blessed. We're in the top 1/10 of 1% of humans that have ever lived on this planet with technology and abundance. Do you know that about 100 years ago in America, where 1/3 of people's income went to provide light after the sun went down? Candles. Kerosene. Now, it's less than 1% of our income goes towards having light after the sun goes down. Do you know that 150 years ago, many people died because they didn't understand what clean meant? For nearly 6,000 years, and now we have sterile things. We have cleanliness, and we're able to eradicate disease. Hey, let's be grateful. We're already there. And once we understand that, we have four freedoms in America that most people have never enjoyed. Freedom of time. To be able to use our time as we wish, as we see fit. Do you know that many people still on planet Earth do not have the freedom of time? Their waking hours are spent every day trying to get rid of that pain right down here. We have the freedom to use our time as we want. And that's a very wonderful blessing. It's great, but a lot of people don't appreciate that until they go to foreign countries and they see people who do not have freedom to spend their time as they see fit. The second freedom is freedom of money. Now, it's not just monetary, but it's the freedom to go out and create value in the world and be compensated, to be self-reliant, to create value. And you don't have to work 24 hours, 7 days a week in order to barely eke out a living. No, you can do that if you choose. But in this country, we have the freedom to go out and make as much money and be compensated as we would like once you understand the dynamics of money, which is what many of my books are about. This leads us to the third freedom, the freedom of purpose. To be able to determine the purpose that you will live every week, every morning. You can determine the purpose for your life. Most people have never had that freedom to define their purpose, especially in history, let alone even on planet Earth today. Many people do not have that freedom. And the final freedom is freedom of relationships, to choose who you hang out with. Now, Jim Rohn often would say, who you will be 5, 10, 15 years from now is primarily a function of who you choose to hang out with, okay? You're going to be the average of the top 5 people you spend your time with. Sherry, my wife of over 45 years, we teach our children and grandchildren to be friendly to everybody, but be very careful who you are friends with. Because who you will be 5, 10 years from now is primarily a function of who you choose to hang out with and what you feed into here and what you feed into here. And so freedom of relationships is very powerful. Now, with those 4 freedoms, those are what we call the entrepreneurial freedoms, to be able to take ownership of your own life. See, that's an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur takes things, resources from a lower level of productivity to a higher level of productivity. A lot of people that have lived on this planet have never understood or had the ability or the freedoms to do that. When you have freedom of time, money, purpose, and relationships, that allows you to grow exponentially, not just in a linear fashion. So when my wife and I have family vacations with a purpose, we have our annual grandpa's camp where the teenagers come for the first 3 days and we talk teenage talk. And then the 8-year-olds and older come for the next 2 days and join them with grandpa at 10,500 feet. And we camp out, and the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds go with grandma in the cabin. Do you know what our goal is? Is to teach our children and grandchildren to appreciate the freedoms of time, money, purpose, and relationships. How to go out and have abundance. How to have more opportunities than they have the capability to seize. Because most people go through life with more capability than they have opportunities. No, I want to have more opportunities than I have capability. That's a nice problem, and it's easy to solve by filtering which opportunities you're going to seize with these freedoms, which ones you're going to delegate to others, and which ones you're going to walk away from. And that's the blessings of living in this country. Let's summarize this again and show you the power behind how you can enjoy these freedoms and help those you care about to appreciate them also. Maybe this is beginning to click, that when we have the freedoms of time, money, purpose, and relationships, we no longer have to look for things to make us happy, because sooner or later people realize that the more things you accumulate, you're not going to necessarily be more happy. In fact, they begin to own you. That happiness doesn't come from other people. Happiness comes from within. So worshiping a movie star or a rock star or a professional athlete is not the way to happiness. Happiness comes from the contentment and peace you have within yourself. Happiness doesn't come from just the thoughts. Many people, they get hooked on the negative thoughts in life, but no, it comes from being positive, to getting on a win streak and appreciating, being grateful, and increasing the value of everything and everyone in your life, and then being able to fully understand other people. And as you appreciate, your thoughts will be on a higher level. So that's why I started out this episode talking about rethinking your thinking. If this is beginning to click, if it's resonating with you, and you would like to understand more about how to do this, there are actually over 60 stories and examples in this book, Entitlement Abolition, where I talk about concepts just like this one that were really written to help empower you to have a more abundant life and to then be able to empower those that you care about. So again, if you would like a free copy of Entitlement Abolition, I would recommend you watch this episode, and then you can go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. I'll send you out a free copy of this. You pay a nominal shipping and handling fee. And also you can view a master class if you would like and do a deep dive of 18 hours into these concepts, because I've just barely scratched the surface. This is the tip of the iceberg. But if you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about this, and I want you to enjoy an abundant life and have true happiness, to be able to empower those that you care about, to be captains of their own souls, to be able to handle any curveball life throws at them, to be self-reliant and be able to always determine happiness from within instantly by understanding these powerful, life-changing concepts.